Welcome to Topic Talks, where we talk about the topics you care about and leave out the ones you don't.
We talk about what most news sources don't: media, movies, and the multiverse.
We even invite guests to come talk topics with us.
Come join in on the fun.
Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the giant conversation that is Topic Talks. I'm your host, Aaron Klingsmith, here with my co-host, Mark.
Hello, everybody.
And joining us today for the first time is Katie. How you doing?
Hi. I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me on the show.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to tell us a little bit? You said you had some podcasting experience. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah, I did like 3 years ago with my buddy Jake and his girlfriend Kayla, and it was pretty fun, and so I just wanted to get back into it.
Sounds pretty cool. I know we here, Mark and I both enjoy it, and we're actually going to school for radio, so it's kind of nice
And
to
television.
have some... And television.
I think
There's
that's
television.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot he switched. He was a radio guy, and he went to the dark side.
Oh, yeah, they were dark.
They had cookies.
Yeah, they do have
So-
cookies.
Okay, guys, so we got a lot of topics to get through today. So we're going to get started. The first one, again, I try not to do this too often, but we are starting off on a little bit of a sad note, but it kind of warms your heart a little bit. As Mark's over here is crying. It's okay, Mark.
I'm okay,
so-
guys.
There's a teacher in Riverview Middle School in Plymouth, WI, that's Wyoming, right?
Yeah, Wyoming, yeah,
Wyoming.
that's WY.
Okay, so Wyoming, his name's Mr. Petrie.
Wait, WY or WI?
WI.
WI is Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. It's in Wisconsin. See, I said WI, and you said...
You said Y.
I said I.
You...
See, you know I was right. That's why... Anyway, so there was a teacher there. His name is, I'm pretty sure it's Mr. Petrie?
Yeah.
Petrie?
Petrie? I'm going to go with that. And he was diagnosed with lymphoma in October of last year. That eventually made it so he had to, he was forced to stop teaching. He just got too weak. And the kids have never stopped supporting him. They raised over, I think they said $3 million, I think I heard someone say.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
That's pretty
They've been doing whatever they can. They've been dropping by to give meals, and this is the cool part. He was what's it called? Who's the guy that's like the main guy in the parade? You've got the...
Are you talking about like the parade like conductor kind of?
No, I'm talking about the guy that like they have one at every parade. Oh crap, what's it called? It's the guy. It's kind of like honoring that person.
Oh.
Patrick Simmons from Grand Blanc. He was
I
that
was
this
just
year.
looking up,
It was Grand Marshal. Grand Marshal.
Yeah,
He
you
was
see,
the
I never
great-
would have got that.
He was the
Yeah, I
Grand
was
Marshal
looking
of
up
the
right now.
of homecoming, but because of his ill state, he wasn't able to actually be in the parade. So the students brought the homecoming to him.
That is so
Whole bunch of students poured into school buses and went over to his house and sang "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" because he was the baseball coach. And it was really cool to just the video that I watched was really amazing. It almost made me want to cry, because I did find out that he passed away the day after they did this.
Oh my God.
So sad.
But
That's so sad.
you know what though, he had a chance to speak on the news thing that I was watching, because this was before we found out he passed away. I read and found that out. And the cool part about it is he said, this is something where the students will never forget this.
Yeah.
He's like, I leave a legacy behind.
Mhm.
So
Well, that's really nice though. I mean, honestly though, I mean, can you imagine what it would be like that? Here he goes, you get to give your speech, and I mean, unfortunately, it is sad that he went the next day, but to be able, to look back and see how his last day on Earth was.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
It was a good day.
Yeah, he was very much loved by a lot of people, especially a lot of the kids. They had a lot of people had really good things to say about him. In the different interviews, they said he was very active in the community. He was very active in the school. So we're not just talking about a teacher that, that was just kind of there. He was a teacher that was, involved in everything, including, like I said earlier, he coached baseball.
Yeah.
So, and you could tell that there was some emotion from the kids. And this is a sad story, but it also makes you feel pretty good because, it's people like that actually make a difference in the world. I mean, the fact that he could touch that many kids, and I'm pretty sure he did this before he got sick, and that's why when he did get sick, they were so supportive. I know that there was a teacher in the school that we went to, Katie, Graham Blank, that she died. I don't remember what of. Was it of cancer?
Yeah. I think it's such a important thing that they did because you don't ever think of like teachers as much more as they are, but you don't think that people appreciate you. But a lot of people do appreciate teachers, and when back in high school, I learned to really grow with my teachers, and because they will be ones to help you out and to push you to where you are and to help you graduate. And I think besides our parents, teachers are one main factors of our life to help us, grow through that little milestone that we go through. That's kind of confusing time as well. And I think that
definitely there's a lot of times, and even at Specs, there's been a lot of times where it's like having a really good teacher like that, really they go the extra mile, and it really does help the students to benefit.
I was gonna say I had a teacher, one of our teachers at Specs that we don't have anymore. She's still at Specs, but we're almost done with our program. She took the time when we'd sit down and talk, and she's like, you're good at this.
Are you talking about Lynn?
Yeah.
Lynn,
she's like, you're
amazing.
good at this. And it was the fact that she could compliment you like that, and say, yes, you are good at this. You know what you're doing. And then that way, when I came up with something that wasn't that great, she's like, okay, what happened? Or, okay,
right,
let's adjust this and this and this and this.
She called it as she sees it,
Very much so. But also, another teacher I have, and Katie, I think you had him too in middle school, is Mr. Dolby.
Oh my gosh, I love Mr. Dolby.
He was one of my favorite teachers.
He definitely was.
But for kind of a weird reason. For me, it's because he almost failed me.
Yeah.
He was one of the first teachers that said, I will fail you. He's like, I don't want to. You're a nice kid. I like you. But I will fail you. He's like, it's not my job to sit here and, pass students along.
Yeah.
And that really, I barely passed his class because he told me that. And I'm like, I don't want to end up in 6th grade again.
Right.
And after that, the next year I got all A's and B's.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was on the AB honor roll.
Sometimes it just takes, a big change like that, and it's just like slap in the face of reality.
Yeah.
And I think Mr. Dolby was so important because he didn't give that, like you said, he didn't give just that pass because he thinks that you're a good student. I think he actually prepared us for what was going to come for us.
Well, he treated us like adults.
Yeah.
When you were in his class, you had to write in black or blue ink.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time it had to, you could use an erasable pen. He would accept that. And, you had a syllabus that you had to fill out every day. There were certain things.
Syllabus?
Yep.
What did the syllabus consist of?
I don't remember. Mine was like a purple folder, and it had like different colored pages in it. It had like almost dividers in it. I don't remember what we wrote in it because I didn't do half of mine. But
yeah, I know that we actually did have to write in black or blue ink, and it had to be erasable because once I came to class with a black pen, and he's like, you can't write with that, and I was like, what? Because he said the main focus was that is if you messed up, you can easily erase it, instead of it being permanent.
Yes, but in the real world, you had to use black or blue ink, which is also the reason that he chose that, because he knew we would make mistakes, so it had to be erasable. But he wanted to kind of prepare us for the real world where you have to write in black and blue ink. That's not you can't come in red or pink or whatever when you're signing real documents. And another thing, and this is something that I've always kind of respected him for, is he he didn't think he was above us in it by any means. And so it was kind of cool because when you got in his class every morning or afternoon or whenever you had him, you could buy pop out of his mini fridge.
Oh, that was awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Now the reasoning behind it was he's like, because I would like to enjoy a Coke. And he's like, I don't think it's fair if I get to sit up here and drink Coke and not let you.
Yeah.
So he would sell them cans for, I think it was
50 cents.
50 cents?
Yeah, 50 cents.
50 cents, and it was just enough for him to basically keep the fridge stocked. And he had Coke, root beer,
and I think orange. Was it
and
orange?
orange.
Yeah.
Orange, some form of orange drink.
That is so
Form of orange
cool.
drink.
But
It
it was really cool.
I mean, honestly, I looked forward to going to his class for the main purpose of that. I would
Well,
say
that and you know, there are a lot of things that I do remember from his class, and then there are a lot of things that I didn't. Like I said, I almost failed it. You know, I just
Yeah.
barely passed. But you know, he taught me more than just, you know, the content that was in a book. He taught me a lot of things about life, and I will always, you know, he showed up at my Eagle Court of Honor.
Yeah, that's
And
amazing.
yeah, and he stayed for that, and then he jumped in front of the line when everybody was going in for the reception.
Aw.
And he said, you know, I've got some friends in from out of town, so I can't stay for long, you know. But it was really nice to see him there. I invited him. He came because, you know, like I said, he just had a huge impact on my life, and I told him that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole page devoted to this man.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think a lot of people gave him as much credit as he deserved. Cause,
Well, it's because the kid's got in trouble, is what it is.
yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
he wouldn't let you get away with anything.
Mhm.
But he respected you. You know, he gave you respect if you gave him respect, and that's says a lot.
Sounds like he's one of those teachers, like, you know, he's strict and all that stuff, but he's also cool. That's kind of how I want to be when I'm a parent someday. You know, I want to be like, you know, I want to be my kid's parent, you know, like be strict, you know, discipline them and all that stuff. But at the same time, you know, it's like be like their best friend.
Right.
I think that's one thing that people my age have trouble with. Like, once the drawing point to being your child's friend, where then the other point is when are you supposed to be the parent? And I honestly, I think, as my mom taught me, that you're always going to be that child's parent until they get 21, 22, when you can actually, you know, be their best friend. And I
don't know about you, but if I say something to my mom, she'll slap me right across the face.
yeah.
To this day, and I'm 22 years old. So
Well, you probably deserve it.
I was gonna say my grandma would too. So yeah, but it's one of those things where I don't know. But you know, whenever he always addressed you as Mr. or Mrs. a lot of the times, or Miss. You know, which was cool. It made you feel, like I said, he never seemed superior. He always seemed like an equal, which was kind of cool. But there were times when he put his foot down and he said, "Listen, this will not be tolerated," which is what was needed for, you know. I mean, we were a bunch of sixth graders.
Yeah, we're all 11, 12-year-olds. Like.
Yeah, and it was, you know. But to this day, I remember, you know, some of his classes, and I remember him telling me that, and that I just barely passed. You know, so it's kind of like, that's one of the things that, I don't know, has always stuck with me. And I've had a lot of great teachers.
Yeah.
I actually can't think, I can only think of maybe one or two that I didn't like, and that was in high school.
Yeah.
I had a couple teachers I didn't like.
It's because I hated the class more or less than, I felt like it was useless, and I still feel like it was useless.
You see,
Yeah.
I had some classes where I loved the class and hated the teacher, and I had some classes that were, you know, vice versa. You know, where it's like I hate the class and I love the teacher. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
Well, the one class that I hated, I didn't like it because I feel like the teacher didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And if the teacher feels like they don't want to be there,
it doesn't
well,
make it fun for anyone.
right? Yeah. Why do I want to be there if you don't want to be there?
I remember in middle school I had this science teacher. I didn't learn a darn thing from that class because he was literally, we would come in, we'd sit at our desk, and he'd put on some kind of documentary or something like that about nature. And I mean, which is all fine and dandy, but it's like we weren't learning the stuff we needed to. And he'd sit there and mess around on his computer. I don't know what he was doing. I'm not sure if he was playing Pac-Man or visiting websites.
Right.
But I mean, he literally, I mean, There's no way he still works there. He's had to be fired by
I was
now
gonna
because
say
he didn't do anything.
There was a teacher in middle school, in, let's see, I'm trying to think of what hallway I was in to determine it was 7th grade. 7th grade, Mr. Wamba.
Oh, I was just actually
He was
forming
really
that in my
cool, and he did teach us a lot.
Wamba?
But he also,
head. We watched.
we could watch MythBusters.
We watched Mythbusters so much.
We did, but you know what though? He tied it into the lesson plan,
did.
which was good. And then there were some days where it was like, we'd go off to the computer lab and play games because, and there, a lot of teachers have these points where like, you can't teach on this day because it's right before break,
Right.
or something, like the kids have a day left. They're not going to sit there and listen. They're going to get antsy. So he would
Right.
take us into the computer lab. Now the cool part about this is we'd go in and just play games or whatever. Well, he had the teacher's computer. So he would be playing the game Tanks with like 3 other students around the room.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's cool.
All you'd have to do is just say, "Hey, let's play Tanks."
I might have
and
to try
open it
this
up.
Tanks game at some point.
It's really fun.
Is it that one that you and Matt were playing in class that one day?
Yes, it is. It uses geometry and
That's cool.
Um,
I still remember that one day in Nick's class where I don't remember what the lesson was, but he played a clip from Supernatural. Do you remember that?
we were looking for. We were just looking at different things about that particular because he was playing different clips and things like that.
Yeah, he was playing clips of a couple different things, and one of the things
but
he
that
played was
class was-
Supernatural, and
That
it's
class
great.
was really cool because every day when we walked in, right when he got in, he would play music.
Yeah.
So like as everybody's getting in, he would play music and whatever. Anyway,
Oh yeah, that's right.
but back to Mr. Wamba. No, but it was really cool because I learned a lot, but I still was able to have fun.
Yeah.
Which does bring me to the next topic. You see how I did that?
Yeah.
So the next topic is about a teacher who actually kind of did the same thing.
It sounds like we've already been on this topic for a little while.
So what he did, this particular teacher, his name's Tom McFadden, and he's a science teacher. He graduated from Stanford, and he's a very smart man. Well, what he decided would be a good thing is to take his lesson plans and turn them into a rap that the kids could learn. And
That's interesting.
and
That's really
and it's
cool.
not like it's like they were learning about salamanders, and so the song all the single ladies by Beyonce.
Yeah.
So they did that song. They did
It's like all the salamanders. All
Yeah.
the salamanders.
That's what it was.
So cool.
and so but it was a rap, but it was teaching them about this lesson, but it was in a tune that they knew.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. Because not everybody learns the same way,
Well, my grandma swears up and down for years because I can remember song lyrics like
Yeah.
that, but I could never get, my grades were bad. And she would do it in kind of an embarrassing way. She'd like, I just need to start singing you your math, and she'd start singing really, like singing and singing, but it didn't
Oh,
rhyme or
man.
make sense or, So it was one of those things where, she always joked about it, and I never thought it could be done, in a way that I would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a big fan of rap, but this is a cool idea.
Yeah.
And actually, he started he went on a page. It wasn't GoFundMe, but it was like a GoFundMe page. But he started a campaign and raised some money for the kids to actually do music videos to these songs.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
So the kids had to learn the lyrics and be able to, because they had to know what they were singing or lip singing too before they could do the video. And there was one girl that said where did I put it? She said, I can't remember. Oh, yeah. She said something to the effect of, I can't remember much, but for some reason I remember these,
Yeah.
and so she's learning. She's picking it up.
It's because songs are catchy.
They are.
Yeah.
It's like even then, it's like even if it's a song that you just
But I
hate.
mean, I can just picture that, when they're taking a test, they're just sitting there singing in their head
Right.
and going down, getting the answers right. You know what I mean? Because
Imagine, oh my God! Imagine if like he taught the class that with those types of lessons, and then like during the test and all that stuff, he wouldn't play the song itself, but he would play the instrumentals for it.
That
See?
would be pretty cool.
But And I mean,
That'd
this
be cool.
wasn't just middle schoolers. This was high schoolers too. He had high
Yeah.
schoolers singing about the plague,
Oh,
which I
that's
mean is a pretty.
That's
But,
great.
but he put it to like a heavy metal song.
Yeah.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the
No,
floor.
but I mean, you joke, but it was seriously cool. And I
Oh,
didn't know
yeah.
what song it was modeled after, but
Get
it
down
was
with the
really cool.
sickness.
I mean, I've seen a movie on Facebook about well, it was just Hannah Montana back when Hannah Montana was
Hanny
pregnant, and
Montany.
She actually sang like all about her bones. She made up a song and did it during a test, and I think that's pretty fun. If you can make learning fun, I say
Right.
why not? And there's a song actually by Fort Knox, I think, Kenji, and it's all about the internment camps. And I know back in 10th grade, we had to learn about them, and I
Right.
seriously remember
Kenji,
that
are
song.
you talking about that song from Linkin Park?
No, it's
Kenji, that sounds.
didn't
You know
sing
what?
it
Because
right
they
now,
did
but-
some kind of song about something like that with
yeah, and then
internment
they had
camps.
all the people who had to live through it were on the track itself, and they were just talking on it. And I guess it doesn't hit you like in a song as much
Right.
as when you hear people talking, like even interviews, and you're just like, wow, I can't believe that they went through that.
Right. Well, and then like talking about I think it was the plague. But we had a teacher. I don't know if you had him. I can't remember which one it was. But I had a teacher when he was teaching us about I'm pretty sure it was the plague. It was the one where you got the giant boils and all that.
Oh,
And he taught us what the song "Ring Around a Rosie" was actually about.
yeah,
Oh no.
And it was about the plague.
yeah. That's,
If you listen to it, so he told us that, and I mean, one, it completely ruined my childhood because of that song.
You're like,
But
you're-
two, to this day I remember what the reference is and what it was and kind of what it meant, and I mean, that's powerful. The fact that I can, I learned this when I was in. Let's see, we graduated 4 years ago,
12.
and
Y'all as youngins. I mean, I'd graduated like a year earlier than you, but still. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Got the dogs. Oh,
Anyway.
there it is.
so no, but the fact that he can turn all these things into songs
Right,
and the kids can remember them, that kind of goes back to what we were saying about good teachers.
right.
He's a very good teacher, and he is pretty new. I have one of my really good friends is a teacher, and he's kind of learning what he can and can't do.
Yeah.
And what he just did is because he's got an AP English class,
Mhm.
and he's got a freshman English class. Well, he made it so all of his classes were turning in essays at the same time.
Oh.
So now he has a whole bunch of essays to grade
Yeah.
because he didn't think about it.
Right.
He's like, oh, this will be easier this way. But now he knows for next year,
Right.
we're gonna spread these ones out, so then that way I can
Yeah.
grade these class, then grade this class, then
Mhm.
to make it a little bit easier on himself.
I know that one of my friends I went to youth group with, she's a teacher now, and she teaches the kids through like text messaging. Like she'll put an example of a phone up there and just have all the equations up there, and I think that's pretty cool because we don't realize how much we rely on the phone, and
Oh yeah,
I think that would tie something into like kids being like, oh, something with the phone, and they'll wanna pick up on it, and that'd be cool.
yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at my phone all the time, especially during the show,
Yeah.
Oh,
because I get notifications about our Topic Talks Facebook page, my Facebook page, like Mark tagged us in a post, all these different things, and especially since Mark and I both were getting into broadcasting, that's something you need to look at.
Right.
Social media is one of your best friends because you can, market yourself as a personality.
Yeah.
But I mean, it can be a good thing or a bad thing. You can't just now I can't just go through and if I like it, I'm gonna share it. Well, I can't do that. I've got to think about what kind of image I'm having on my Facebook.
Right.
But a lot of people are condemning Facebook, and they're like, "Oh, you're always on your phones,"
Right.
and it's actually kind of funny. So in Boy Scouts, there's this leadership training that I went through. It was called NYLT. It was a youth leadership training. Well, there's an adult version of that for scout leaders and things like that. And I attended one day just to, not as an adult. I was there helping out
Yeah.
because I ran that youth course.
Mhm.
So I knew all the games that they were gonna play. I knew all the, because it was all the same stuff we did.
You knew what
It
it
was
was
just,
about.
they had a little bit different, curriculum, just a little bit. It was basically the same thing, but they, made it so that adults could understand it.
Right.
And one of the discussions that was being had by because the staff that taught that, the adults on the staff that taught when I taught,
Mhm.
also taught this adult one.
Mm.
And one of my favorite, her name's Bev. She's really cool. She was like a mother to all of us.
Yeah.
She was talking about generations. She's talking about how the generations are different. And one thing that they came up with is, someone said, well, I hate how these kids are always on their phones all the time. And, I raised my hand. She's like, okay, just a minute. And because she knew, she wanted my take on it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, because she's like, we're sitting there trying to have a conversation with you and you're sitting there on your phone. I said, well, that's because you kind of interrupted our conversation.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, we were having a conversation on our phones through text messages before you walked up.
Right.
So it's like you're interrupting our, so it's really, because they're like, it's rude if you're on your phone. Well, and they're like, well, the conversation never stops. I said, yes, it does. It stops at night when you go to bed, and it, starts up in the morning when you get up. Or, you message one person for a little while, they go away, you message another person. So but I told them that, and they're like, you know what, I've never thought about that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, actually, it's, kind of rude for you guys to walk up, but because we know that but we still respond to you guys, but we're going to respond to the first conversation first. And they said that, and they thought about it, and they're like, really? And it's because, I'm from the generation, because when I started off, I had to buy my first flip phone.
Right.
I had to pay, I paid $100 for the actual phone, and I had to buy minutes.
Yeah.
That wasn't until my stepdad gave me my phone. And he just handed it to me. It was a flip phone. He's like, here, it's got unlimited this, and this.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. And I actually still have the first phone that I bought. It's deactivated, but I still have it sitting in a drawer because it was something that I paid for.
Well, I
was
hope
very
it's
proud
deactivated. You'd be building up a lot of bills by now.
Yeah.
Well, it was prepaid, so.
Oh yeah, never mind. There you go. I still have.
But
my...
after a while, you lose the number if you don't use it.
Yeah, I still have my not my first cell phone, but my second one. It was apart before smartphones. It was probably the best phone I ever had because I literally used it 3 out of 4 of my years in high school. And nothing ever changed with this phone. It was perfectly fine. It wasn't like a smartphone where like its software just slowly starts to deteriorate after like a year or two, and like the phone just starts to go bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your charger ports will go, or you start just getting all kinds of ads or pop-ups, and after a while your phone just gets worse and worse and worse.
Do you know why they do that?
Why?
So that you'll buy a new phone.
Exactly. It's just like cars, they use cheap parts, so they'll break and you gotta fix them.
Yeah.
But it's like back in the day of flip phones, I mean, you could make one flip phone last you like 5 years if you were good about it.
Well, my grandma just made the leap to smartphones. Well,
oh, that must be fun.
She doesn't think she did, but she really did.
Yeah.
Because she went, she's had several flip phones. She had the candy bar phone for a while, then she did the flip phones.
Yeah.
The candy bar.
Candy bar.
Yeah, you don't remember the candy bar phones? They were just the straight ones with the buttons
the
on them.
chocolates.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chocolates.
Well, it wasn't even just that was like a version of the candy
Oh man,
bar
I
phone.
don't know. I know the back of my cell phone provider.
Anyway.
He's mentioned stuff like Kit Kat or like ice cream cone or whatever. I'm like,
That's
what are these
the
different
software that is on your
That's the
Android
software.
device.
Okay.
No, the candy bar phones, they were called candy bars because they were literally squares. They were like rectangles, and they just had the buttons on the front. It was before flip phones. Before the flip feature came about, they had candy bar phones.
Wait, before flip phones?
Yes. There was a before flip phones.
Before.
Oh man, that was before my time.
They're under bricks, which are the giant cell phones that you still find. They like basically.
Oh, you're
took
talking
those,
about like
Nexus.
you're talking about like basically like the phones that were like the first like landlines without cords.
Like the Nexus phones?
Yes.
Nexus phones.
You know the ones like they were just rectangles. The buttons were right on the front. You had a little tiny screen.
Cord.
You had like the pull up. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. Those were referred to as candy bar phones because they looked like a candy bar. Either way, then you
It
had the
didn't
flip
taste like a
phones.
candy bar.
I never ate them. So
I never put
anyway,
Neither
so she
did
went to
I.
flip phones, and she had a few flip phones. Then and she really liked those. Well, one of hers broke. She literally flipped it open one day, and the screen popped right off. And
Oh my gosh.
she'd flipped it open and closed so much that it literally flipped right broke.
That's funny.
So then my aunt had given her first, what she would consider her first smartphone.
It's not a
Yeah.
smartphone, is it?
Oh, this thing was old.
I
I mean, you had to use a
Oh.
pen you could still use a pen as a stylus. Like, it didn't
Oh,
even have the
wow.
heat sense
Yeah.
on it.
Oh my god.
I had to beat this thing with a pen just to try to get it to use it to hit buttons. Anyway, so she had that for a while, and so this past year she's like, oh, I need a new phone. You know, this one's starting to kind of go. And I said, well, I can put you on my plan. So that's what we did. And we got her. We've actually both got the same phones. We got the Galaxy S7,
Mhm.
and I had already kind of pre-prepared her for this
Yeah.
because I gave her a tablet that was Android based.
Mhm.
So it's basically the same thing that she has on her tablet is what she has on her phone.
Well,
Just her phone's a little bit more updated. And so she's kind of learning that, but it's really cool seeing people who like the lady that I was telling you about, Bev. She swore when I first started that training, she swore she would never get a cell phone. She didn't have a cell phone, and we had this running joke that because we had a phone list, so if we ever needed to call, it was right on the back of our name tags.
Yeah.
We could call that person's cell phone. Well, under Bev, it just said in quotes, "Yell real loud,"
Oh my
because she
God.
didn't have a cell phone, but her husband had one.
That's
and then
funny.
and then after a few years, she walked in one day with an iPhone,
Oh my
and we
God.
made fun of her for it.
Oh my god. So she went from having no phone to an iPhone.
Well, but she had her and her husband kind of shared a phone,
I
so it's
don't
kind
know.
of like she had she knew how to use them.
I was about to say, is she better have, because otherwise that's gonna be some culture shock for you.
But no, anyway, so she knew how to use them, but she it would just it kind of worked out to where she got a phone,
Yeah.
which I thought was hilarious.
This reminds me of a post I saw once. It was like LMFAO, I'm done. I went into my grandma's tablet, and she said please and thank you with her Google searches, like Google, please translate this for me, please, thank you. And it was great.
My grandma talks to her tablet, so she'll hit the voice button,
What a time we live in.
and
You know
she
what?
sends it like an email. So she'll say, "Dear whoever," and
It's actually kind of smart though. That's innovation, using your text to speech to actually like type stuff out like that.
Yeah.
well, because it's hard for her to hit the buttons.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and it takes a while, so she uses that, but she always ends it like an email. And it's really funny getting a text from
Yeah.
her because it'll be this big long text, and then at the end it'll like say thanks or something like that.
Thanks sincerely.
Yeah, something like that at the bottom. So it's funny because it's formatted just like an email. And I'm like, Grandma, you don't have to do that. Like,
Yeah.
but you know what?
You know, one idea I've been kind of playing around with is actually using like a smartphone or a tablet for like documentation kind of thing. Like for example, you have Google Docs on your phone, and so it's like, and your phone probably has text to speech, right?
It does.
So
Yes, it does.
hypothetically, you could literally, if you wanted to, you wouldn't even have to type. You could just use your text to speech, and you could literally just talk through yourself through an entire essay if you
Right.
wanted to do so.
The only problem is my text to speech.
It's not very good.
Well, I mean, it's just as good. It's better than the one that my grandma has on her tablet.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's frustrating because I'll say a word and it won't put that word up.
Yeah, that's
Or
the,
you
that's
gotta
the only
like
thing. You have to spell.
You
have
gotta
to spell
say the
check it like a-
punctuation.
Yeah.
But then there's certain situations where like, if you're trying to say the word period and you say period, it's just
Yeah,
gonna
it's
put the
gonna-
dot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I mean,
So you
obviously,
get
if
that
you-
cross.
obviously if you do it like that, you're gonna have to go through and check the hell.
But
out
I
of
mean,
it.
if I go in and go Google Docs, it'll like be
Google
like, what the
Docs.
hell?
Yeah, you can't pull a Jim Bell on it.
Right. So
Right.
it's like you've got to be very clear and concise with what you say. So it's really
Yeah.
funny watching my grandma talk to her tablet because she says it very clear and concise,
Yeah.
and it's not like you and I talking to each other. It's
Right.
like So it's really funny because it works for her. So there's not a problem with it, but it's just funny to watch.
Slang
Yeah.
proof.
It is.
Speak
though.
it clearly.
Yeah. So she's speaking clearly, and she'll say period. It's like she's dictating to, like a secretary or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
I
No.
think one of the things that's really funny with smartphones, and by funny I mean totally annoying, is autocorrect.
Oh,
Never in my time as a human
See?
being did I mean to use the word ducking.
I know.
But no, but that's why I like Androids, is because it doesn't Android, if you set up the settings right, it doesn't automatically replace the word. It just provides you words right above what
Well,
you're typing.
Yeah, mine
So
has
then
the
that way
word.
that you can
Mine has the word prediction on it too, so it's like a lot of times it's
see.
like
I
really-
turned my word prediction off.
So did I. Yeah.
I'll admit it can be annoying, but other times it could be like a total like
See, but I keep the one where it doesn't just drop it right in.
no,
It's got the
no.
one where it's just
Where
like
it's
right.
just the lines with like 2 or 3
Yeah.
different options. That's the one you want.
Yep, that's the one that I got. Anyway, kind of getting back to the topic. So the teacher, they were interviewing him, and he said students are having fun. They're learning. They're proud of what they've done. And if my computer doesn't, go to sleep. And then he said it's so hard to argue with that, And as much as the lyrics and the rhythm are important for memorizing the information associated with the songs, and the popular melodies are a big impact as well. And then such dramatic differences when you can create something like this that is really professional, that makes an impact. That students can get to see themselves as a part of the fabric of culture and of the internet and of education and creators. That is the big impact on everybody, especially the students. So I mean, he like I said, he's a very, very, very smart guy.
I think it's great to see people more these days getting innovative with with their
Yes.
teaching
Yeah.
techniques.
Very, very
That's what
much
this-
so.
That's what this world needs. I was watching this video last week, and it was about this guy. Like he speaks about stuff. Like one was talking about like the environment, and like this guy, he's got such a soulful voice. And then there was another one where he was talking about suing the educational system, and he was showing pictures of things that have changed over the past 100 years. Like, he showed a picture of a car from 100 years ago and a car of today. He showed a picture of something else from 100 years ago, and then a picture of the same thing today, and it was totally different. And then he's like, hey, now take a look at this classroom from 100 years ago. He shows a picture of a classroom from 100 years ago, and then he shows a classroom today, and it's almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it was a shame.
And
And I'll have to show this to you later. And you know what? I'll try and get the link to it, and then we can post it on our page.
okay.
But like this guy, he knows what he's. Oh man, it speaks to you.
Well, and okay, so like today when I was at my internship, they were talking about a
Cough button.
no. we talked about that too. But no, they were talking about a coach who made one of his players run a lap because he was bullying another player,
Yeah.
Good.
and
Yeah.
the school fired him.
Because he
Wow.
made somebody run a lap.
I think that's kind of.
Well,
And I mean, but the conversation blew up with everybody saying that was dumb.
Yeah, people. You know what? It sickens me how entitled kids are these days.
But
know?
that's
Like,
that's
I mean,
that's where the conversation kind of went. Is
that's why everybody's
be-
so
because
spoiled.
everybody's so spoiled because
Yeah.
all kids have to do these days are go home to mom and dad and say, "Oh, coach made me do this because he thinks this." Then the parent goes off at the school, and the
Mhm.
school's like, "Well, the school should be, well, he was. This is his punishment."
Yeah.
Or and
It's like, well, would you rather have him been suspended?
right. And so it's one of those things where so teachers like this who can kind of innovate that may help, that may even help kind of the bullying thing, because
Yeah.
when kids get bored, that's when they cause trouble.
Right.
I find that bringing song into the mix can often like bring things up a bit. I mean, like honestly, like there's been times like at work where it's just like everybody's just miserable, and then we just start singing some random song, and then everybody starts chiming in, and it just brings up the mood. All you gotta do at my work is go na Sawenya, and everybody joins in.
Well, and one thing that I have noticed is there are people who are meant to teach.
There are.
It really
Like
is.
my friend, he's one of the reasons that I got through high school. Every day after school, he would, all the way through junior year, he would tutor me. We would go, it started off freshman year. Every day I would go back across the campus to the main campus and go into the library, and him and I would sit there for a good 2-3 hours, and he would help me with my math homework.
See, that's a good friend.
Yeah,
Mostly
that
my
is.
math homework.
Well,
And
yeah,
two
who likes
good,
math?
I was gonna say 2 good things came out of it. One, I got better at math, but 2, when it came time for him to take the ACT, he did phenomenal on the math portion because he had basically been reviewing
This whole.
everything he needed for the ACT by helping me with my math. But because I have ADHD and I'm dyslexic, it's harder for me to understand
You're
things.
dyslexic?
I am.
I did not know that.
See?
You're allergic to bees. You're dyslexic, man. You're just a mess.
I know, right?
I'm just kidding.
No, it's okay. Anyway, no, but he's able to, because him and I have known each other since we were 3. And so he can understand me on a level that almost nobody else can. And so he knows how I think. And that's how he kind of had the hand up. And we were talking one day before he went off to college, and he was telling me how he was thinking about he wanted to be a teacher. Or he was telling me he was going to go to school to be a teacher. And I said, that's an awesome idea. And I said, if you ever decide, you either get bored with teaching regular students or anything, I said, you should go to be a special ed teacher.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you have what it takes. Because, you've helped me with my math. You've tutored me. You know kind of how to explain it to me that I can understand it. Because like my grandma likes to say, my brain is wired a little bit differently than everybody else. It has to be set a certain way in order for me to understand. You could sit there saying the same thing the same way, and I can't understand it. And then you switch 2 words around. It could just be that simple, and then it'll just click.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where, he was able to understand that, and I think that 1 makes him a good teacher. But 2 makes it that he can, he would be able to teach kids who are dyslexic and have ADHD, and he actually, I think he kind of made this realization because some of the kids that he had in his when he was doing his student teaching, he had some special ed students, and those were the ones that he got to.
Yeah.
He really got to. They had the most progress. And I said, Cody, that's because you're going to be really good if you become a special ed teacher.
Yeah.
You're already a really good teacher. You're very smart. You know what you're doing.
Exactly.
And so it's one of those things. But I had a teacher in school. She was a special ed teacher and helped me out, and she had ADHD.
Yeah.
And it really helped because she could, having that, you 2 people who have ADHD can understand each other.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my girlfriend. My girlfriend has ADHD. So she can explain things to me that I can't understand because she can understand it, but she also understands kind of how I think.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where the key is. So, but there are very much people who are meant to be teachers, and I feel like both of these gentlemen that we just talked about were and are great teachers.
Yeah.
And hopefully it will continue to be.
Well,
hopefully more people are like that.
And hopefully there will be more people like that.
So
yes.
I feel like sometimes everybody in your school district puts the expectation of everybody's fitting into a square, and you're not always gonna get those square shapes, I guess. Sometimes you're gonna get circles and triangles and hearts.
I'm following you. I got this.
Rectangles or trapezoids or pentagons.
Yeah, they're trying to
maybe not
throw you into this
pentagons.
mold, and you're not gonna. You may not fit into this mold, and that's one thing. In high school, I always said, I didn't fit into a specific social group because I talked to you, I talked to a giant guy named Nick Bell.
Oh, Nick.
I talked to a whole bunch of people, so I didn't fit in a group. I was in, yes, I would hang out there was a group of kids that I would hang out with, but we would all hang out with different people from different groups for different reasons, for different, So it's kind of one of those things where, everybody else were in social groups, but I was one of the people that, 1, refused to be in one, but 2, didn't fit in one because, I was different.
Same here. I was back in high school. I was a bit of a drifter myself. I was probably a part of a couple different friend groups, and I was just kind of like the low key, hey guys, I'm just here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's.
Who am I gonna sit with today?
Yeah.
I kind of just was a floater, I guess. I just go from group to group to group.
Well, and that's not a bad thing either. But but that's one of the reasons that I love being in the special ed program is because they were able to help me in ways that sometimes normal teachers didn't have time to.
Yeah. They just had one set.
And one of the things that really bothered me is because we had kids who just did not want to be in school.
Right.
Well, they made it impossible for me to learn, and I didn't want to be there. But you know what? I'm like, well, I have to be here, so I might as well make the best of it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what I tried to do, and I think I succeeded pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, and I looked back at some of the kids who didn't want to be at school, and you know, they're doing nothing with their lives.
Right.
Yep, pity
They're
on
just
them.
They're just having children.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, everybody I graduated with is either getting married or having kids.
Having
And
lots
it's like
of
I'm not at the point in my life where I'm ready to do either of those.
Right,
Definitely not. I'm like, guys, I'm still kind of looking at what I'm gonna be doing in like getting out of school, getting my career, and getting a house.
Right.
Yeah.
I ain't thinking about building a family for another 5 to 7 years.
Right, and I had this
Don't tell my
lady-
girlfriend that.
I had this lady at Applebee's come up to me and she's like, "So, do you have any kids yet?" And I was like, "No, I'm 22. I have a lot of things I need to do first." And she just said something so rude. She was like, "Well, you're gonna be that late mom who's 30 in preschool." And I was like, "Well,
So
I know."
what?
I know. I was like, "I don't
What's
want
wrong with that?
I don't want to be stuck at home, you know, and trying to figure out babysitters, you know, like I."
What's wrong with living life for
Right,
yourself?
Right.
first?
It's
Right.
just like I have places I want to go to. There's people I want to see, you know, and I mean, I think that there's a time and place for everything for that.
Right.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it's-
props to them if they're doing it, but it's just for
I-
me and
well, and it's funny because most of the people that we graduated with that have kids weren't planned.
yeah.
It's not like I'm gonna have a kid. No,
Right.
it was they screwed up and you know they had a kid. Now they may be happy with how they are,
Yeah.
and that's perfectly fine. But you know, and this is one thing that really bothers me is when people try to force, you know, their beliefs upon
Oh,
you.
yeah.
You know, and one of the major ways that it is or that it's done is people who are Christian or very religious. Because I'm consider myself a pretty religious person,
Yeah.
but I don't go around shoving my religion down people's throats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I love the part of because I'm Presbyterian, and the way I was taught is that I know I believe in what I believe in,
Mhm.
and I see it every day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's how I kind of I try to do good deeds and pass those on,
Mhm.
and then maybe somebody else might see it the way I do. If they do, they do.
Yeah.
If they don't, they don't.
Right.
But I want
Yeah.
them to figure that out for themselves, not me to
Force.
and one of the things that I hated a few years ago, I went to a county fair. I went for a concert. I was all pumped, full redneck, and I'm walking around, and there are at least 5 or 10 tents, and they either have, and all of them have one of two questions on them. One of them was, it said one question that almost or not too many people can answer,
Mhm.
which intrigued me a little bit, but I knew what it was.
Right.
And then there was another one that says, "Are you going to heaven?" And my friend, also the one that's the teacher,
Mhm.
he's pretty religious as well. And so we were walking past, and they had people, going, "Oh, asking you," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Are you going to heaven?" And he gave the response that they were looking for, and he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "What about you?" And I said, "I'm going straight to hell." And then they
Aw.
dragged me into the tent and told me, I'm like, I should have just kept my mouth shut.
Right.
Not
I was
many-
trying to be sarcastic because
Yeah.
it really bothered me that they're out there trying to,
Push.
push. And
Yeah.
like my grandma, and she pointed this out the other day, and I realized it, that, the way that I spread my religion is by being active in the community.
Mhm.
We just had a fire and police appreciation day.
Yeah.
We raised, we got gift cards donated and things like that, and we just had a little ceremony
Mhm.
that was honoring all the men and women that go that kind of protect us every day.
Mhm.
And they were very appreciative of it, and it was a way that because there were several churches that came together and several
Yeah.
different religions. There was a
Yeah.
Greek Orthodox church, members of the Orthodox church that
Okay.
came.
Mhm.
There were members of the Muslim mosque that came out.
Mhm.
So it was a whole bunch of different religions, but if you have been in any religion, it's kind of like a family.
Yeah.
They'll all help out each other, whether their beliefs are the same or not.
Yeah.
And yes, there are things like the guy from the Greek Orthodox Church can't come if we call it a service. If we if we would have said it was a service,
Mhm.
he wouldn't have been able to attend. But that's because the people that are kind of in charge of him, because they've got like national,
Yeah.
they wouldn't allow him to. But because we called it an appreciation day, he was allowed to attend.
Mhm.
And so it's things like that. But that's really the only thing that's stopping the
Yeah.
But it's because we don't try to push our religion off on other people. We respect what everybody believes,
Yeah.
and we just try to basically spread what we believe
Mhm.
through doing good deeds and appreciating people who do stuff for us every day. And like I'm very big into Relay for Life.
Yeah.
My church does that every year. We're really big into that. So that's how we kind of spread our name for our church, and we find new members. But we don't go around passing out Bibles and asking
Right.
if you're going to go to heaven,
Right.
because that's just not what we do.
It's not even
Yeah.
appropriate.
I don't
Well,
think so.
Like, I've had some ladies come into Applebee's and hand me flyers, and I was the only host one time for 5 hours, and this lady came up to me and she was like, do you know why you're so stressed? And I was like, because I'm the only host here. And she goes, no, because you don't have Jesus in your heart. And I wanted, but the thing I wanted to say to her is, how do you not know that I don't have Jesus in my heart?
Right.
Because I'm stressed out that you don't think I have Jesus in my heart.
And that's what really bugs me, because they jump to those conclusions.
Right. And she was like, well, Jesus wouldn't let you get so stressed. And I wanted to say to her, because I was growing up into a Lutheran home, like,
Right.
very religious, and I still have it in my heart. And it kind of hurt me a little bit that she would just
Assume.
jump to the conclusion that I don't have Jesus in my heart. And
yeah, and that's I don't like to use this phrase, but those are the people that I call Bible thumpers.
Yeah.
Because they might as well just be walking around with a Bible, beating you with it.
yeah,
Because that's pretty much what they're doing. They're hurting you by saying what they're saying.
yeah,
And it's almost like they're trying to intimidate you into believing what they they think that you should believe,
yeah, but they
without
do.
even considering the fact that you may be very religious.
Yeah.
But it's funny how people draw parallels. Like, why are you why you're so stressed? And I was pretty sure exactly where that was going when you said that. And those are the people that bother me, because that's not what being a Christian is.
Mhm.
It's doing good things for other people. It's kind of like being a Boy Scout. Being a Boy Scout, you do good deeds for no reason. No, there's no, you don't get anything out of it other than to help people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I feel like my religion is I help people,
Mhm.
and I spread what I believe, but I don't shove it down people's throats.
Right.
I say, oh yeah, I'm with Kirkridge Presbyterian Church. We're doing this for Relay. We're doing this for this.
Yeah.
And I bring up my church a lot. I'm a member on the session, so I'm one of the elders of the church. And but I don't go around passing out Bible. Now, there are times when like we distribute Bibles to like we help a Christian company that gives Bibles out to hotels
Yeah.
and things like that. But it's one of those things, that we support the organization because they're giving those out for free.
Yeah.
And that's for people who are Christian that want to read different Bibles. And
Yeah.
but it's really funny because I see all these people, and like I said, at the county fair for several years it was like this, where they would have those tents up, and it would just irritate the crap out of me. That's why I said no, I was going to hell one day, is because it irritated me that they were there. And so they sat me down, and I just pretended like I was learning something, which I already knew everything they were telling me.
Yeah.
You see, if they came up to me, it's like, sir, do you know if you're going to heaven? I'd be like, lady, you do not need to know about my life.
But that's the problem, is because it's just one of those things that is just irritating. Either way, we are way.
Anyways, as I was
off.
saying, I prefer not to think about heaven. I prefer more to look to the stars.
Yeah.
Hence transition.
I caught the transition.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually.
Here you go. You ready?
Uh,
There you go.
So here we go, Mark's Multiverse. With that transition, I'm actually going to do this one out of order because
Why are you doing it out of order?
because the first story doesn't have anything to do with stars. But anyways, some people might have asked themselves these questions before, especially if you're a nerd or you fantasize about space or anything like that.
I'm a nerd, but I don't fantasize about space.
Okay, well, the question is, how many galaxies are there out there?
Well, let's see. How many Guardians of the Galaxies are there out there is the real question.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Thought the universe was crowded with 100 billion to 200 billion galaxies?
Nope, I thought there was one.
Try 1 trillion, or even
Wow.
true 2 trillion galaxies or more. At least that's according to the latest census. An astrophysics professor at the University of Nottingham in England led the international team that came up with the mind-boggling estimate of 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. Professor Christopher Cancelis said that represents a minimum tenfold increase. In a phone interview, Cancelis said that he was surprised by the results. He anticipated 2 or 3 times more galaxies, perhaps, but 10 is quite high, and it could prove to be even greater. The scientists based their galaxy head count on the deep space surveys already conducted by the Hubble Space Telescope and ground observatories. They turned the image into 3D and used mathematical models for the update. It boggles the mind that over 90% of the galaxies in the universe have yet to be studied. Who knows what interesting properties we will find when we discover these galaxies with future generations of telescopes. Even scientists have trouble wrapping their minds around such huge numbers. According to Cancelis, 2 trillion is roughly equivalent to the number of seconds in 1,000 average lifetimes.
Wow.
The findings are going to be posted in the Astrophysical Journal. So,
Are they?
So, if you felt like an infinitesimal speck in the universe before, just imagine how small you are now.
Oh.
I mean, there's
I've like
there's
tried
not
to wrap my mind around it a little bit, and like, cause I saw some things about conspiracies and everything, and I honestly didn't know that like different planets had different moons. Like, that may sound stupid, but I really didn't. And then like,
there's more galaxies in the universe than there are atoms in the human body.
Really?
Just think about that for a second, because I mean, I can't even.
I try not to think about stuff like that. It makes my brain hurt.
It's too mind-boggling. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, and here it is. It's just, it makes. Yeah, I feel even smaller in the universe now. And you know what? Even then, in an argument, a lot of people say I think that we're alone in the universe. Throw this at them, man. There is no way we are the only life forms in a universe of 2 trillion plus galaxies. Galaxies where there's hundreds and thousands of planets in a single galaxy. The Milky Way alone, we can hardly even reach outside the Milky Way in terms of sensing or whatever. So it's just, as they said, it's mind-boggling.
it really is.
It is, and it's interesting.
It is very interesting. But,
Not as interesting as you pan it out to be, but
Oh,
still interesting.
I
By the
think-
way, you don't have to shout. The microphone is right
You
there.
don't
No,
have
I'm
to
sorry.
show.
It gets me excited.
I know.
It does,
Oh.
But either way, there's no way we're ever gonna be able to visit all that. But at the very least, maybe someday we can actually manage to get a look at them from a distance. That would be at least a little bit of insight into the makings of our universe. I think that'd be cool.
I think it would be too.
But anyway, so since we stretched the first segment of the show out so long, I'm gonna shorten that one out and go into my next story now. Thank you, Aaron.
You're welcome.
It's okay though. It was a good conversation.
I was.
But here's another one for you. Could the future of energy be in solar sidewalks? Scott Brusaw, a man from Sandpoint, Idaho, seems to think so. Scott believes that the solar-powered glass pavers his company makes could transform thousands of miles of pavement into a new energy source.
Hold up. They're glass?
Yes, it is tempered glass.
Wow.
Okay.
Do you know what tempered glass is?
Yes, I have some on my phone, and it breaks very
It
easily.
does not break very easily.
My phone broke the same day.
Okay, well, you know what? That is a very thin layer of tempered glass, sir.
See, but no, I mean, and I understand tempered glass, can be strong and stuff, but I don't know if it would be stronger than cement. I like the idea. Don't get me wrong. I love the idea.
I'll be getting into that.
I can just see some problems with it, but continue.
Okay. So basically, his business, Solar Roadways, recently unveiled its first public installation in a downtown plaza in this northern Idaho resort town. It's 150 square feet of hexagon-shaped solar panels that people can walk and bicycle on.
Wow.
The company is working on proof that the panels for which it has a patent are strong enough to have enough traction to handle motor vehicles, including semi-trailers. Bruce Hall stated that his plan is to replace all the asphalt and concrete with these panels, which could make 3 times their energy needs. Solar Roadways is among a growing number of companies embracing renewable energy as the U.S. aims to reduce carbon emissions by 1/3 from 2005 levels by 2030. But it is the only business receiving federal highway research money in pursuit of solar road panels, part of the Federal Highway Administration's effort to fight climate change. Bruce Hall and his wife, Julie, got the idea from their Idaho business after watching the Al Gore movie you might have heard of, An Inconvenient Truth, and deciding that they wanted to join in on the battle against global warming, which I'll probably bring up in a minute. They aren't the only ones eyeing these roads and sidewalks as potential energy sources either. A solar bike path was built in the Netherlands in 2014, and Germany and France have announced plans to build their own solar roads in the future.
Dang, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
But either way, though, the Bursaws hope to beat them into the mass production state of it. Incorporated in 2006, Solar Roadways has received 3 FHA grants totaling $1.6 million in funding from the state and a local economic development agency. It also drew 50,000 donors who raised $2.2 million in Indiegogo, a crowdsourcing site. Solar Roadways has been testing the strength of its half-inch thick glass, by dropping 1 pound of steel balls on it from a height of 8 feet, Aaron.
So,
a standard test for concrete.
So they were throwing their balls on the sidewalk?
Yes, they were throwing their big metal balls on the sidewalk.
Wow, big metal balls.
Mm-hmm. They go clack, 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 clack,
Oh
clack.
my god, copper balls.
Anyways, so far these tests have been successful, by the way. The glass has a traction surface that is equivalent to asphalt. In tests, vehicles are able to stop in the required distance as well. In strength tests, the panels can hold 250,000 pounds, 3 times the legal limit of the semi-trailer, Aaron, 3 times the legal limit. These are made of tempered glass, weigh about 70 pounds each, and contain lights that can be programmed. Listen to this. This is a pretty cool feature. They can be programmed to direct traffic or alert drivers to problems. Each hexagonal panel is about 31 inches point to point.
See, my problem is Michigan can barely maintain the asphalt that they have.
Potholes, yeah.
Yeah.
What makes you think that they're going to maintain roads that are supposed to power things?
Well, you see,
And my question, will there be random plugs in the cement so that people with smart cars can just plug them in wherever they go?
that would actually be kind of cool.
would.
Almost like kind of like you've seen like those charge pads you can just place your phones on and stuff like that.
Yes,
It'll automatically charge.
I'm looking into purchasing one of those for my
That
new
would be
phone.
really cool if these solar panels could do the same feature with electric cars.
You just park on the car, park on
You're parked in
one of the
traffic.
parking lots.
Oh no, I'm low on charge. Hey, guess what? The touchpad roadway here can charge my electric car.
You know what though?
That would be so cool.
There's something about the roar of an engine that I just a smart car doesn't have.
I don't
Bzzz.
like smart cars either. I didn't say smart cars. I said electric cars. There's a difference, sir.
I mean,
Really,
Yes.
really, you're gonna
listen,
you're gonna go down that road
You were talking about how
in
Michigan is
your
already
little
having.
tiny smart car.
I don't have a smart car, and I never will. But I would drive a Chevy Volt. I think those things are pretty cool. But listen to this. You think it's going to be hard to maintain these, but listen. The panels contain microprocessors that will allow them to communicate with each other, a central control station, and vehicles. They are also designed to be easily replaced if damaged.
Wow.
According to Solar Roadways, heat produced by the
Asphalt
panels...
is easily replaced. You just gotta throw some more in there, and
Okay. But
Michigan
they're not
won't do
doing
that.
Yeah, and if one of these panels is damaged in a road, they could literally just come in, pull it up, and put a new one in. It's like
Yeah.
Legos.
but you'd be waiting
Now,
for a
see,
long
you've also
time
got to
for
look
that.
at weather too. How is
Icy.
could we do this in Michigan with icy roads? Because we get a lot of ice,
Well, it's still...
and this is glass. So you're talking about a slick surface on a slick surface.
They already talked about it. It is already with the traction proof. Cars are able to stop in that distance. With
That, or is
all
it going to automatically heat up and melt the ice?
Oh, that'd be
Listen to
awesome.
this.
Which means
Listen to this.
no more snow days.
Listen.
No more
According
snow
to
days.
Solar Roadways, heat produced by the panels keeps roadways snow and ice free, improving
Wow.
winter driving safety. There you go.
It's not good for the kids nowadays.
Mhm. The panels can currently be used for sidewalks, driveways, and parking lots. The company is still seeking permission from federal government to use them in the roads.
You know what I say?
What?
I say this.
I know, right? Solar Roadways wants to set up a manufacturing facility for the glass panels in Sandpoint as early as next year.
Wow.
For now, the Broussards are doing custom jobs, but they envision do-it-yourselfers buying the panels at hardware stores. The next public installations will be in Baltimore and at the Route 66 rest area in Missouri, according to Broussard. Both are services for pedestrians.
And how are these gonna go with those smart bus things that you were
Oh, you're talking
babbling on
those?
about a while ago?
Oh, they'll probably have some way to install rails into it.
I think it's cool actually, because my dad, he has a company for solar plantation.
Does he
and I
really?
think, yeah. It's out of Chicago, but honestly, I think that this would be something that could change, us, but
Bad news for the oil companies.
Yeah, definitely.
Bad
but-
news for the oil companies.
But you know what? 2050 is going to be bad news for the oil companies when we run out too.
Yeah.
Yep, if everybody's predictions is right. No, this is a really cool concept, and I'm trying to play devil's advocate because, right now we do have a problem with roads.
We've always had a problem with roads. It's Michigan.
And it's asphalt. And I was talking to a gentleman the other day who works for the state. And he works for I don't think it might be the county or the basically he works for the state of Michigan, and he's an inspector for roads. And when he says what he does, a lot of people complain. Well, he's like, we're not the ones that do the work. And a lot of people will put it towards the fact that so when people bid on a job, when companies bid on a job for the state of Michigan, they'll go for the lowest bid. It's the person who will do it for the cheapest. Well, a lot of people will say, well, if they're doing it for the cheapest, they could be a bad company.
Right.
Well, bigger companies can afford to do that lower bid.
Yeah.
So that would actually weed out some of the smaller companies that may not do as good of a job. And that was a little bit of an insight for me because I didn't confront him about it. I was just casually talking to him about it, and he's like, I'm not the one that does it. He's like, I'm an inspector just to make sure it's done right.
Yeah.
He's like, I sit there. He's like, but you know how many, mean words I get.
It's like, how come the roads are bad like this? How come you
I'm
did
trying
not
to
fix it?
But I'm trying to play devil's advocate because he's like, well, you've got to think about, the snow. Our winters sometimes are so cold, and then they get so warm that it does wonders on our roads.
Yeah.
So
Wonders.
So
More like catastrophes.
no, but like my question is because like right now I can't. It would be hard for me to get a radio job in Saginaw because if it snows and I can't get there, they can't afford for that.
Right.
I need to be there. 'Cause I'm going to be the one telling schools if they're closed and things like that. So they look for people local. Now, would that change with these new roads?
These new roads, they would change a lot. First of all, like I said, they're heated, or the heat it generates would,
But see, in theory, everything works.
in theory, that's true.
if we lived in a world where theory worked, we would live in a perfect world.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's kind of where I run in. Yes, I'm glad to see this technology, and I want them to test on it as much as they can and get funding from the government, but I want the bugs to be worked out of it first before they actually apply it and figure out what's wrong and figure out if it will actually work.
Well, that's why they're starting small. They're just doing stuff like pedestrian walkways and driveways right now. They're keeping it small. They're testing the technology, making sure it works, making sure it's ready for this.
Well, and then the other thing to think about is, okay, we get a giant snow. Well, will the snowplows go over the roads and then they melt? Or because if you have all that snow melt off the roads, it's going to flood the roads.
Yeah.
And then might refreeze again. You know what I mean? So that could be a problem too.
It's a big cycle.
So I was gonna say, so this is a great idea. I'm very for it, but I want kind of the bugs to be worked out of it.
Definitely. This actually reminds me of another thing I heard about at one point. It was super absorbent concrete. It was literally.
I think you covered that one day.
Maybe, yeah. They were literally made this type of concrete or whatever. Or they didn't call it concrete. They called it something else. but literally like they were
It would
pouring,
literally suck up water. They were pouring
they were taking a
gallons
fire
of-
hose to this thing, and
Oh,
it would-
yeah.
they'd be finished with the fire hose, and it would totally look dry because it would absorb it so much.
Yeah,
Wow.
they'd be sprayed down with a fire hose, and this stuff would just absorb. And I
But the
think what
big-
it did is
the
it
big
filtered down through underneath the road, and that way it could kind of go into the ground.
Something
Oh,
along
that's
those
cool.
lines. But I believe they theorized the problem with it that what happens is it would be like super absorbent, so in the winter all the water that would absorb into it and freeze and expand and break it.
Right.
And that was one of the big problems that they were encountering with it as far as theories go.
Well, and that's what I said. Everything works in theory. Like that would be great.
Mhm.
It would be phenomenal if it worked. But the fact that if we get one good freeze and then the road cracks,
Yeah.
where does that leave us?
Well, they'd be, like I said, it's also going to be easily replaceable too.
Well, I was talking about the other thing. Now,
Oh, you're talking about the
Right.
concrete.
Now, if this is easily replaceable, that's great, but how much will it cost to get these put in? How much will it cost to, yeah, it's an easy replacement, but is it an expensive replacement? There's
Oh.
that too.
Let me scroll back up in there and take a look at it real quick. Easily replaced. Designed to be easily replaced if damaged. It doesn't mention a price on each panel, but they were talking about making it affordable for even as far as for do-it-yourselfers to be able to do this kind of stuff too.
Well, and like I said, I'm excited to see where it's gonna go, but I want to see if it's going to work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not
We get
just-
all excited.
We'll see.
Yeah, I just don't want to hear the theory about how it's supposed to work. I want to hear about how it actually is working.
I'd like to see where we got 30 years down the road with
Oh.
all these innovative ideas that we hear about. These are new ideas that we hear about every week.
See, but you got to look about Back to the Future too. They
Oh.
thought the same thing. They're like, where are we gonna be in this many years? That year is this year, and we're nowhere.
We're still
Well-
on
That's
the
true, but we've
ground.
made a lot of innovations in the past few
People claim
years.
we have hoverboards. They're not hoverboards. They've
They're
got
not
wheels,
hoverboards, They're
They-
smart scooters.
And they light on fire.
And they also
and they light on fire.
Just like
But we do have-
just like those Note 7s.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, but the Nike shoes, yes, they're invented, but they're just now invented. So not everybody has them like in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So there are these things, and yes, some of them like the Nike Smart Shoe.
Well, plus they're more of
That-
an aesthetic anyways.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that it was inspired by the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason they did it. So I mean, yeah, I'm really excited to see where we're at, but I'm not sure if we're gonna be where everybody thinks we're gonna be.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm certain nobody can get a clear picture of where we're going to be 30 years from now, but it's still kind of fun to think about because it could be a totally different world by then.
Right.
Or global warming could like take massive effect and we could almost all die.
Oh,
That
God.
would be interesting to see.
That's very, very, very depressing.
that is really depressing.
Why'd you have to go there, Mark?
Because oil companies, Aaron. Oil companies. Anyways, but listen though, yeah, on top of all these pros and cons and all that stuff, you also got to think that this is also in the department of alternative resources and alternative energy. Here it is. It's not just, the energy is not just heating these roads or, putting, these program designs into or anything like that, but it's also generating electricity for the town that they're doing it in right now. And if they implement
Right.
this other places too, that's going to make electricity so much more affordable too.
Yes, I agree.
So I'm excited to see where this will go.
Me too. But like I said, I want to see it work first
Definitely.
before I get too excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So with that, we will keep on going down the road right into our madness.
Madness Monday. Madness
Yes, that's
I-
right. It is time for Movie Madness Monday.
I love it, Aaron. I love it so much.
So if you haven't noticed, we have a few new additions to our show. We have now an opening track which which Mark and I went in on trying to create. But we also have a Movie Madness Monday. Now some of you, if you have been listening, may recognize that from a few episodes ago when I had our friend Matt, not Matthew, but Matt on the show.
Matt
from
Lesniak from our
school.
class.
Yep. And my friend Anthony, who is never going to be on the show again as long as I can help it, because the
They were hard to keep on track.
the train derails so hard that the track is pointless. Either way, one good thing did come out of it. They did that impromptu, and it turned out so well. I went into the audio because I save all the shows. I went into the audio, I cut it out, I gave it a little bit of an echo, and now it is our new intro for Movie Madness Monday.
And I love it.
It is
It
really
is
cool.
pretty cool.
It
like
turned
it.
out better than I thought it would be.
Now I just gotta see what we're gonna come up with for Mark's Multiverse.
There you go. Anyway, I digress. So Movie Madness Monday. So one thing that we've kind of been keeping up with is the Justice League, the live action Justice League that comes out. Are you familiar with that at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I've seen some movies.
Do you remember the animated series that they had in when we were younger?
Like that would come on like Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
They
pretty
had like Justice League the animated series.
Yeah.
Well, Mark and I finished it.
I'm
and
probably like halfway through right now. I'm probably just breaking into season 2.
It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay.
And so we've been kind of catching up with it, and
I've been getting my sister to watch some anime before this upcoming con. I'm hoping I can finish Justice League by Youmacon, which is November 4th.
I started watching Justice League Unlimited, or is that what it is?
Yeah, Justice League Unlimited.
And I don't think it's cool, but I don't think it
It's
has
not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
So
It's not the same.
what it is the original Justice League, you had Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, John the Martian.
Yeah, John. What was his
You had
last name?
Hawkgirl.
And then you had Hawkgirl. Yeah, you had like 6 or 7 of them. I think there was.
And the
Batman
Flash. You had
and
the Flash
Flash.
too.
So yeah, I think there was some.
So that was the Justice League. And how the series ended, spoiler alert by the way, is
La, 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 la,
Close
la,
your
I
ears.
haven't seen it yet. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? It's my fault. This was around for years. This is
Anyway,
my fault I haven't seen it. You know what? Spoil it for me. I don't care.
no.
I'll watch it anyways.
But the how it ends is basically the Justice League crumbles. You know, they lose their I want to call it their perch in outer space and everything. And so they talk about restarting. And that's how they end it, which is why it made me so mad. And there's another thing that I'll spare Mark. I'll let him find that out on his own. There's something else that kind of irritated me. But then you go to Justice League Unlimited, and then all of a sudden they have this giant home base out in space with all these different Javelin 5s, different colors, different shapes. They have basically every superhero you could ever think of in the DC universe
Is there now?
is now part of the Justice
So
League.
is Justice League Unlimited starts like that?
Yes, it
They
starts.
They don't give any reference to development of it.
No.
Wow.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gasp.
But and it is a cool concept. You know, every superhero, but they can maintain their their status on Earth, you know, as civilians and be able to keep their
Identity secret.
yeah.
You know what? I do have one question about the Justice League. Do they know each other's secret identities?
Yes.
They do?
There's an episode. You'll find that out. But yes, they do.
Okay. Because, yeah, I was curious about that. In some of these episodes, I'm just like, do they know?
I was going to say, I really want to tell you, but I'm not going to. Because there's a really cool episode about that where the Flash makes a joke about... Okay, I'm gonna spoil it for you anyway, because I think you'll like this. No, Mark could really appreciate this, because he kind of likes stuff like this. So they're all wanted, and you'll find out why. And this kind of goes in with the ending of the series, but they're all wanted, and so they're looking for the Green Lantern and Hawkgirl and all that, and so they're like, okay, well we're gonna have to, get out of costume. We're gonna have to go incognito. And the Flash is like, wait a minute, how do you know? Like, what if I don't want to give up my alias? And then Batman goes through and names off everybody's alias.
Oh, that's great.
And so then they change into normal people clothes. So for one entire and through this entire series, you haven't seen Flash's face.
Right.
You've seen Wonder Woman out of her outfit. You've seen Batman out of his.
What about Hawkgirl? I mean, like, seriously, did she lose the wings or something?
No, she still has the wings, but that's a mask that she has on.
Okay, but seriously, some secret identity if you have the giant wings.
Well, it'll get into that.
Okay.
No, she still has the wings. But anyway, so they go kind of incognito and meet back at the Batcave. But it was funny, and the thing that I thought you would appreciate about that is, that Batman would go around and just
Oh, of course.
he already knew everybody's
just like-
secret identity.
Please don't even act like you have a secret. I'm Batman. I already know.
Well, but they had hinted before that Wonder Woman knew that Batman was Bruce Wayne, and that all that.
I think it's great how like Superman's like secret identity is he just puts on a pair of glasses pretty much.
But it was and it was pretty cool. Like there was a part when him and John, because John turned into like his human form, because he has one of those. You'll find out later that too.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
Yep, he has a human form. So he turned into that, and Superman turned into Clark Kent, and they thought that Green Lantern and them were gonna get caught, and so Clark Kent starts asking questions like an interview for the Daily Planet. And it kind of distracts the people that were going to catch, all the other superheroes, but it's really funny because John acts like the camera guy. And I would have never even really thought about it because you're like, okay, well, he's a reporter, so who's John going to be? Because they were going in pairs.
Right.
Well, it turns out that John was pretending to be, but it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought it was really brilliant because nobody would ever think that, think that
John the Martian.
Right, that would be John the Martian. So it was just, I don't know. I love the original Justice League. I don't like how it ended. Unlimited is cool, but
you still have to watch Young Justice too. When you finish Unlimited, watch Young Justice and tell me about what you think after that.
Anyway, but I
Season
mean
2 is
like
even better.
Like Green Lantern's bald now.
What?
Yeah. He's bald and he's got a goatee.
Wait,
That's pretty
I
cool.
thought he was already, well, no, he just had kind of like a fade going on, like really short hair.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Goatees are cool too.
Yeah, goatees are cool.
Anyway, I'm getting way off topic. Anyway, so that's kind of the Justice League that I originally wanted. But now the Justice League that they're doing in the live action, if I can remember this, they have the Batman played by Ben Affleck. They have the
Wonder
Superman.
Woman, they have Superwoman. They have Flash.
They have
Aquaman.
Superman and Wonder Woman, not Superwoman.
Oh, my bad. I was thinking Wonder. No, sorry, twisted up.
They have the Flash.
You know one thing that grinds my gears, and you might actually kind of appreciate this because here it is in the Justice League. Aquaman was an infinitesimal role for most of the series, and here
Aquaman is a pointless superhero.
Anyways,
that shouldn't even be a part of the Justice League.
Listen, I'm arguing on your behalf right now.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit ridiculous now because I'm watching Justice League and Aquaman is such a tiny role in the Justice League cartoon, and here it is. He's gonna be like one of the main characters in the Justice League movie.
Thank you. But see,
I still like what they're doing with him in the movie. I just don't. I'm arguing that it's weird that
But okay, so in the animated series.
I want to see John the Martian in the live action. That would be cool.
That would be cool. No, but so you and Zach one day were trying to convince me. I think it was you and somebody were trying to convince me that Aquaman had a point, and that because he looked so big and tough that it was gonna make a difference. And you saw from the animated series, they made Aquaman look big and tough.
But he was like...
He's still pointless.
He's hardly even a friend.
But do you see my point now? It's like he's not a part of the Justice League in my eyes. He never has been. And there have been points when they have
interaction.
They have interaction, and they might fight on the same side every once in a while. But he is never a part of the Justice League. Yeah. But I was shocked to find out, because I didn't realize this when I was younger, that Batman technically isn't part of the Justice League either. He just kind of shows up and helps out every once in a while.
Yeah, I guess
and supplies the Justice League with everything.
He's kind of like the, hey guys, I'm gonna oversee
He's never become
all.
an official member.
He's daddy.
But anyway, so what I wanted to bring up is the new
Daddy.
Justice League movie Wrapped. It's filming in Iceland. Which I'm really excited to see. I still haven't seen Batman v Superman, which I want to see. I know it's supposed to be bad, but I still want to see why or what parts were filmed in East
Just
Lansing.
expect it to be really bad, so that way you can hopefully like it.
Okay.
Because that's what I did with Suicide Squad, and I actually thought it was an amazing movie, despite the bad reviews.
Great. That's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, so because of the rap, and playing the guy unmentionable superhero that you just well, not really even.
He's not even a superhero.
Yeah. He is played by. He's going to be in the new Justice League movie. He's played by Jason Momoa.
I feel like with this
Moana?
Aquaman, they are totally redefining Aquaman. Like they're changing everything about him. They're changing.
They're
changing
just
his look
making
style.
him buff.
They're
They're making him big and strong.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Well,
He was like that. He was like that in the animated series.
Yeah.
That doesn't make him a superhero.
Right.
Yeah, but here he is,
Although
like-
in the animated series, he did cut off his own hand.
yeah, that was
Oh.
pretty BA.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I remember that when I like had a flashback from when I was a kid, remembering that particular scene when you got the hook and everything. That was pretty
Yeah.
sweet. Anyway, so and then you got Ben Affleck who plays Batman. But the guy who played Aquaman, Jason, he posted a picture. Originally, he posted a picture of a fridge full of beer. And then he posted a picture that said that filming had wrapped, and it was a picture of him and Ben Affleck with beers in their hands.
Ah.
So apparently there was some celebration, which is good. I'm really excited to see that the movies, they wrapped on filming. That means they're gonna get in production soon, and kind of get that all done. So I'm really excited to see this movie come out.
Yeah.
Like I said, I may not be happy with some of the superheroes like Cyborg.
Cyborg? Yeah, that's right. Cyborg's.
Cyborg
Here it is.
is
They
gonna
put
be
all these side heroes in there, and it's like you haven't seen anything of John the Martian. You haven't seen anything of Hawkgirl.
See, and it's funny because so much came out of the '90s versions of these. Like
They
Harley
changed so
Quinn.
much.
Harley Quinn was not a thing in the
She
original
was not
comics
even a thing until what?
until Batman in the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
That was the birth of Harley Quinn.
Mhm.
And then they've just kind of changed her look from like a gesture to a kind of like a
Sexy.
sex
like
symbol.
a
Sexy.
well, not just a sex symbol, but they kind of made it more like Joker's girlfriend type.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of
I
like
think
her
she's
definition. That's literally kind of what she is. She's the Joker's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean they kind of made
She's kind of badass.
yeah, she is.
I think so.
But
Yeah, I mean, I like her. Don't get me wrong.
yeah.
But they definitely, I think they over sexualized her in the.
I don't think
Suicide
they over
I mean,
because
The whole-
before if you look at the animated series, it was almost she might as well have just been a guy. You couldn't even really tell that she was a girl.
I thought it was funny.
And so I think that the fact that they kind of changed her outfit a little bit, changed things up. It's kind of like the argument about the Power Rangers thing. They feminized some of the female Power Ranger
well, I think
outfits.
they needed to a little bit.
They did, because if you look at the outfits of the original Power Rangers, they all looked like dudes.
I thought they were all guys when I was little.
Right? Yeah, you just thought it was a dude wearing a pink Power Ranger
Right.
outfit, but you find out that two of them I think it was pink and yellow, were females, if I remember correctly.
I thought it was
What?
I thought it was the purple, but I think
There
I'm
was a
wrong.
pink. I remember a pink.
Oh.
There might have been a purple. There were so many different versions of Power Rangers that I don't even remember half of them anymore.
You know, they'll talk about the whole Harley Quinn thing, though. It made me think of this funny picture I saw one time. I just Googled it. It shows Harley Quinn, and has this green and purple cake, and she goes up to Batman and says, "Hey, hey, B-Man, I made you a cake," and then says, "It's pudding flavored." And then Joker's head pops out. He's just like, "Hi, Batsy." Here, I'll show you
No.
the picture. Check that out. It's pretty
You're
funny.
right, Eric. She's yellow. It's pink and yellow, but she's Asian and she's a yellow.
Oh, that's.
But I mean,
That's not racist.
Well, you gotta
Right.
think though too. The Black Ranger's black. isn't he?
Yeah, but I know, but it's just like I don't know.
anyway,
We're backtracking.
no, but there was this argument that they over sexualized the Power Rangers. Well, no, you didn't know that they were
Because they
women
put-
in the first place.
Right.
They gave them heels, and then their outfits have breasts, like you can
Yeah.
see the breasts.
Right.
I don't see a problem with that. And it's
No.
kind of the same thing.
I think for being a girl though, like I see where they're going for it because I don't know. It's just like
That's how women are.
right,
It's like,
And-
hey, sorry, I have boobs.
right. It's
Right,
nothing I
and
can do about
and
it.
that's kind of the whole point where I'm at. It's like, this is nothing new. This is
Right.
not a fact that we just found out,
They've been doing that
2
for
days
a
ago.
long time ago.
Right. And now they're just trying to, in the 90s they were trying to be, somewhat kind of modest.
Yeah.
Obviously, it can't be that bad because they have 2 women roles where women agreed to do the role without any problem or even a thought about it. It's like, oh, hey, look, these suits of armor have breastplates.
Well, but then you also look at Wonder Woman and they're like they over sexualized her. Well, this
I don't know if they really
kind of how
that's just how that's just how she is.
Yeah.
That's just how she was designed. That's how it was.
They literally
meant
gave
to
her
be.
her suit, and that's just how it is.
Well, she didn't even in the animated series. She wasn't given the suit. She took it. But
okay, well, I mean,
either way,
I mean, like the producers, directors, whatever. It's like, hey,
right.
this is how Wonder Woman looks.
But
so here's Wonder Woman's
right. And I mean it's
continuity, people.
Well, and a lot of people are like, well, we don't have that many female superheroes. You have Supergirl, you have Hawkgirl,
you have
Wonder Woman. There are a lot of
not
female...
to mention, there's a lot of newer ones too. Like you got Catwoman, you got McGann, which is basically Martian Manhunter's niece, who's actually a white Martian, by the way. Little spoiler alert there, since Mr. Spoilers over here. But anyways, no, I'm telling you, after Unlimited, watch Young Justice. You'll like it.
I will watch Young Justice if I can suffer through Unlimited.
Okay. But anyways, so yeah, there's a lot of newer upcoming. Supergirl ends up in there too. But
she is in Unlimited though.
Oh, cool. All right, but yeah, so yeah. Yeah, so I mean, they're coming up with some female heroes, and that's just kind of how it's going. And it's funny. It's like there's all this like this fight on this topic of women equality and all that stuff, and then yet when we put them into this stuff, it's like
Yeah.
Right.
It's like we want equality, but give us equality, and we're gonna riot.
You know what one of my favorite superheroes is?
What?
I'm Groot.
Yes.
He is one of my favorites. Yeah. Good segue, right?
Great segue.
Okay, so our next topic is talking about, you guessed it, Groot. We are talking about actually baby Groot.
Oh,
I just want to do that again.
How funny!
I'm Groot.
How funny would it be if in the new movie he's like, I am baby Groot? That would be so funny.
So cute.
I love Groot.
No. Anyway, so Vin Diesel released a tease about Baby Groot for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which I am pumped for.
Oh, yes. I'm super stoked.
So Guardians, all the original cast is back, and all the characters are back.
Yeah.
Including Vin Diesel playing Groot.
Yeah.
Although, apparently Groot is going to be a little bit different. So, for those of you who haven't seen the movie, and if you haven't seen the movie, it's been long enough. These aren't spoilers anymore.
Yeah.
In the end, Groot gave up his life to save everybody else.
Yeah.
We are Groot.
And then he got replanted in a pot. And so if you saw the ending, you saw Baby Groot dancing to a song, and it was the most adorable thing ever. I love Baby Groot.
Baby Groot.
And so the new movie, that was kind of like is going to be like his rebirth. Is kind of what it sounds like. Because before, all he would say is, I am Groot, or we are Groot. Actually, he would say it like this.
Groot.
No.
I am Groot.
There we go.
There we go.
So that's kind of how all he would say before. Now, there is, according to the source that I have, this came off EW.com, which is Entertainment Weekly, Baby Groot, Vin Diesel was quoted saying, he says, I always think of Groot, the Groot that we saw in the first Guardians of the Galaxy, as the college level Groot. He's not fully grown yet, but he's a man. At once he sacrificed himself at the end of the movie. Now he starts all over, so to speak. But we're gonna see a goofy, adorable baby Groot thing running around, which I think is gonna be kind of cool. Cause we saw him in kind of like the flower pot, so I can picture like a mini Groot running around being all like cool.
Yep. I remember reading somewhere that like when they were making that movie, Vin Diesel had to record "I am Groot" like 3,000 different times just for that movie.
Well, and it's funny because I was watching a video on people who are doing voice acting, and it was. This particular one was for like Toy Story, or no, it was Tom Hanks, who played Woody, and Ellen DeGeneres, who played Dory, were talking about what it's like to be a voice actor.
Oh, yeah.
And they said it's rough because you could have a whole you think you could be done, and they'll call you in for one session just to make like grunting noises for different scenes. And they're like, you think with all this stuff that we recorded the last time, you would be able to get these grunting noises out of there.
Nope.
Anyway,
It's not
so
the same people. It's not.
so I think what we're gonna see is we're gonna see, because before, and Mark and I were talking about this a little bit before. We saw a Groot that kind of grew up with his own people.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why, all he could say was, I am Groot, because that was his language.
Yeah.
That's our theory.
And I think, or our theory, and I think we both agreed upon this, is that now that he's going to be with, people who can speak English, that's going to be the language he's going to pick
Yeah.
up as as he grows up, and tries to get back into that college, kind of stage.
I just had a really funny thought. I'll tell you later.
Anyway, but there are some secret scripts that nobody can see except for Vin Diesel and the director. So nobody knows, but these scripts have kind of an insight as to what it means when he says, I am Groot, or we are Groot,
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that.
Subtitle here, subtitle there.
Maybe. So you'll hear,
I am Groot.
and there'll be like a subtitle or something. But I would like him to actually develop, some form of speech.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a very, very, very awesome character development tool.
Mhm.
But it would also take very good advantage of the fact that, he's kind of reborn. So instead of just sitting there going,
I am Groot.
I love doing that.
I know, I
Um,
noticed.
Anyway, and instead of just sitting there doing that, he could actually hold a conversation. And maybe we can learn a little bit more about him. Because all we know is he just sits there and says, I am Groot.
I'm surprised you
all
didn't
he
press the button
does.
that time.
I didn't. I refrained.
Barely.
But anyway, no, but I think it would give us a little bit more of an insight of where he came from, what it's like, kind of what his people were like, where it came from, things like that. And I feel like that'd be a very, very, very good character development tool.
Yeah.
So I was really excited to read that because, I am Groot thing, that was really cool in the first movie. I don't know how cool it would be in a second movie. Now, they could, but they need that little bit of a change.
You gotta change it up because you can't keep things the same because otherwise you end up with the Hangover.
Part 2.
Yeah.
And 3.
No, 3 was good because 1 and 3 should have been sequels. So it should have been 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and they could have just cut out the movie that they had as 2 because
Right.
3 is an extension of 1.
Yeah. I just
So that
think
is like the actual sequel because it's kind of, they're still dealing with stuff from, Vegas, which is in
Yeah.
the first movie.
Yeah.
I think it's just all kind of predictable after the first one.
I don't know. I don't think 3 is as
Well,
predictable.
no,
that one caught
but,
me
like,
real off guard. The second one
for
was,
sure. That's
well, what they did is they basically took the same script, changed the place, and some of the characters, and that's it. But anyway, back to this. No, so I'm really excited to see how they're gonna develop Groot as a character because he was one that was very loved.
Yeah.
I think he was everybody's favorite character.
For 3 words in the entire film, he was probably one of the most beloved characters of all of them. I still love the prison scene where he's talking about, like, it's very important that we get this piece last.
Yeah, he breaks it off.
I am Groot.
He's like, I am Groot.
Oh, I gotta watch that movie.
Yes, we do. Anyway, no, so I'm really excited to see when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 comes out. It is kind of cool to see that they're actually going to give time to Groot as a character rather than just as a tree that says, I am Groot.
Yeah.
So they don't have a release date or anything like that yet on it, do
Not
they?
that I can see. I'll look one up in a minute and see if I can find you one.
Alright.
Anyway. And that's we'll kind of move on to movies that are coming out. I only picked a couple. There are some movies coming out. We've got Doctor Strange, which it looks like somebody on acid made it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really trippy.
Let me tell you, I feel
Really
bad
good.
for anybody who actually tries and trips and then goes sees it.
Oh,
because
God.
they are
They're
going
gonna
to
have
see
bad.
things,
So
man.
so
They're
here's
going to see things.
so here's the description of Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was a self-centered New York surgeon robbed of his touch after a car accident, and after it stained
a stint
stint in
as a
a.
wandering.
There you go. Do you want to?
If you want to, sure. I mean,
Do you want to take this away and I'll look up your answer?
Yeah, you can do
Okay.
that. So Doctor Strange was a self-centered New York surgeon robbed of his touch after a car accident. After a stint as a wandering derelict, he encounters a healer in the Himalayas and learns to tap into psychic powers to battle wrongdoers.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you know,
excited.
honestly,
It looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
like
It's kind of almost like an Inception feel to it.
Yeah.
very much.
I
Honestly,
think
this
definitely be.
this movie, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't get excited for a lot of movies. Like I only like certain kind of movies, and I'm definitely excited for this.
I like what they're doing. Like you said, it's kind of like a Marvel version of Inception. You know, a lot with pretty much all the Marvel movies up to this point. You know, most of it is centered a lot around science and a little bit of magic. Whenever it comes down to the Thor kind of stuff, it's a lot of magic stuff. You know, like a Rainbow Bridge and all that.
Right.
But you know, here this is like really gonna get into that psychic bit of it.
It really is. And if you guys haven't seen the trailer, I'll throw one up on the Topic Talks Facebook page while he's talking to you about this a little bit more. I do want to pause real quick. The release date for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and you're gonna be mad. It is May
2018, isn't it?
2017.
2017.
It's May 5th, but that's still a long way.
Wait, May 5th, 2017?
Yes.
Oh, I can wait. I
can't wait.
I still got Doctor Strange and Spider-Man Homecoming in
I'm
there.
too excited.
Wait, when's I'm trying to remember when Spider-Man Homecoming comes out. That's around the same time. I want to say it's like April. But anyways, Doctor Strange, oh man, I'm so excited to see this. I've never seen or read or looked into anything Doctor Strange before. And, you know, when I first heard about it coming out, you know, they're making a movie for it, I was just like, oh.
July 7th.
July 7th. Oh, so that's actually coming out after our Guardians.
Yep.
Oh.
Now you can't wait?
No, I can't wait. But anyways, here it is, you know, Doctor Strange. That's something it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I said, it's like an Inception kind of feel to the Marvel universe. And you know, I heard somewhere that Doctor Strange might even play a small part in the next Thor movie.
Wow.
Which actually I might get a chance to mention that in a minute, depending on if we have enough time to get through that topic. But
we won't.
I don't know. We'll see. But so I mean, you know, overall, I'm really excited to see Doctor Strange. I mean, I'm personally, the day it comes out, I'm pretty much gonna be packing up to go to Youmacon for the weekend. But that Monday, actually, oh sweet, that Monday, I might have a chance to see it. I mean, I'm still gonna be coming to the show that day.
You better be.
Yeah, but I might actually have a chance to. If I get the chance to see Doctor Strange on the Monday after it comes out, I will be sure to talk about it on the show and let you guys know what I think without spoilers, because spoilers are bad, especially when it's a brand new movie. But when it's something that's been out since the 90s, it's okay, because that's
You're
my
welcome.
fault. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
But
Anyway,
so yeah, I'm really excited to see this. I'm really gonna try
Yep.
to see it as soon as I can.
yeah. Did you say what day that comes out?
Yeah, it comes out Friday, November 4th. I repeat, Friday, November 4th.
So mark your calendars if you want to see that movie. The next one that we're going to talk about is one that I have been waiting for.
Me too.
Yep.
Because I watched the teaser, and when they call this one a teaser, it is really a teaser.
Gosh, I'm so
It is
excited.
the live action Beauty and the Beast. If you guys haven't seen the teaser, they've released the cover art for kind of what Lumiere and Cogsworth are going to look like, which are the candlestick and the clock, and it is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And then now I'm not too keen on the voice that they chose for Lumiere the candlestick.
Who'd they choose to voice him?
I don't know, but it sounds off.
It sounds off.
According to the teaser. But this is a teaser. I mean, you literally, like the old teaser that they used for the Disney's animated one.
Mm-hmm.
They basically redid that one, but in live action.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, if you compare them side by side, they're almost identical.
I'm so excited.
But you don't see any faces, you don't see any like cover art, you just see the castle.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
It's magnificent. It's really cool.
Is it magical?
But you hear
Yeah,
voices.
definitely
You hear the
magical.
voices of Belle and Lumiere and Cogsworth.
It's
but
like one
you-
of those like behind closed curtains kind of trailers, teasers.
Yeah,
kind of
it
deals.
like you just kind of see like the inside of the castle, and they show like the portrait and.
It's one of those things where it doesn't directly tell you what it is,
Well,
but you
and-
know.
and then
what
at
it
the
is.
end,
Like,
At the
makes you
end,
want more.
you look and you see like the rose, which looks awesome,
Oh my God.
and then you see I'm pretty sure it's Emma Watson that's playing in that one.
Yep. Emma
Emma
Oh,
Watson,
yeah,
she
that's
bends down
right.
and she
Right.
looks at it, and then it cuts out, and then it plays the like like the
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast thing,
I
Mm-hmm.
am so
and then it gives the
excited.
release date, and then I get really irritated because it's
Yeah,
so
to
far
wait.
away.
But it does look like something. I'm just so excited. But I feel like Disney now is gonna take a hold of that and then make another theme park.
I wonder how
They
they're
probably will.
I wonder
Yeah.
how they're gonna portray what's his name, the bad guy in it, Gaston,
Gaston.
Gaston. I'm curious to see how they're gonna.
I heard. Well, the cool part about this is, the guy who's doing a lot of the music for the show, from what I heard, is the same guy that did the play Alexander Hamilton. You remember we've talked about that quite a bit?
Alexander Hamilton, is he that internet is really really great guy?
Alexander Hamilton is somebody in history, because we all know that you're not that good with your history.
No, I'm not a huge history fan.
Because you thought Harriet Tubman was Truman.
Yeah.
Anyway, either way, but what it is Alexander Hamilton was, I'm pretty sure he was one of our presidents. And
That's actually pretty good. I like that.
Yeah. Luke Evans plays Gaston.
yeah,
Is he sorry to cut out, but
no,
is
it's
he the
good.
guy in
What is it? It's
the one
coming.
with the dragons?
Oh, Aragon?
No.
Uh,
It's the one that everybody's been talking about, that new season.
Pete's Dragon? No, Game of Thrones?
Yeah, Game of Thrones. Isn't he on there? I think he's on there.
Maybe. I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Neither.
It's on my list though. It's something I
Yeah,
have to get
Definitely.
to.
I've heard a lot of good stuff about that. Sorry for
Mhm.
cutting out.
But still, I
No,
mean,
it's
Emma
good.
Watson is a magnificent
Oh.
actress herself. So I mean,
For
that
sure.
alone is like worth it to go see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, and then you hear, you know the guy that played Gandalf in Lord of the Rings?
Mhm.
Gandalf. Yeah.
He plays Lumiere he plays Clogsworth the Clock.
Really, Gandalf
Oh.
is the clock.
God,
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it is an interesting choice, but when you hear it, it fits like the one in the movie. The only problem, like I said, I had is Lumiere, the candlestick, because he's supposed to be French,
Mhm.
and it sounds like a very cheesy French accent.
Yeah.
My only problem.
Cheesy French. That's
But
always great.
no, anyway, so what I was saying is there's this guy that came up with this play called Alexander Hamilton, and it kind of gives some of the history of our forefathers,
Mhm.
and but he does it in a rap, and like the character of George Washington is played by an African American male, which has never been done before. So it's a very diverse cast, but they're rapping, which is what makes it so magnificent. A bad seat for one of those shows is about $1,000 a piece.
Wow.
Wow.
That's how expensive it is and how popular it is right now.
I think I remember you telling me about that.
The gentleman's name that came up with it is, I think it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, is the guy that came up with that. He is the one that is working on, I'm pretty sure, the music for Beauty and the Beast.
Wow. I'm excited.
Man, this
So
should be,
yeah,
this should be something else.
he did his last show because he played Alexander, the main part in that show, for quite a while. He did his last show, on there, and he says he's gonna return, but he's got some other projects he wants to work on. But like Beauty and the Beast is one of them. So he's
Mhm.
working on that right now. He's got some other stuff he's gonna be in. But I'm really excited because he's done a lot with Alexander Hamilton, and he did a really good job. So I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do with
Yeah.
Well, for
Beauty and
$1,000
the
a
Beast.
seat,
Better
he's
be.
probably good at what he does.
Yeah.
Well, and that was his very first show that he'd ever put out.
Yeah.
It was his first show he'd ever put out, and it's that popular because it's such a unique idea.
Yeah. That's pretty
Mhm.
cool. I know my mom talks about Alexander Hamilton, that musical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really good musical, and it's something that's very popular right now.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people who can buy the soundtrack, like Matthew, our friend Matthew, who was on the show a while ago. We were all talking about it, and he said he bought the soundtrack, and he
Yeah.
was jamming out to it in his car, in
I
his
believe
parents' car. So anyway, I'm really excited for Beauty and the Beast. You guys all know what it's about. It's Beauty and the Beast is a fantastic journey of Belle, a bright and beautiful independent young woman who is taken prisoner by a beast in his castle. Despite her fears, she befriends the castle's enchanted staff and learns to look beyond the beast's hideous exterior and realize the kind heart and soul of a true prince within. And that comes out on Friday, March 17th, 2017.
Oh, such a long wait.
I know.
Yeah.
All these good movies are coming
I'm
out.
so excited.
2017, people, is gonna
I
be
feel
a good year for movies.
it really will. I heard that Lion King's coming out.
Lion
live
King is
action,
yes.
Live action.
A live action Lion
Yeah,
King.
I am excited for that too.
You know what though? You know, this is like the era of like live action Disney movies too. Like here it is. They just did the.
I really want
they
to
just
see.
did Tarzan.
I really want
they're
to see
doing-
Tarzan. I missed Pete's Dragon because that was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I really want to see
Didn't-
that. And Jungle Book came out too.
Jungle Book was so good. I saw
Was
it
it?
like 5 times. Yeah, it was so good. Except
I had to go back and watch that stuff.
I was pretty upset though. Spoiler that the snake was actually a girl this time, but I think it gave it.
Nah,
that-
that
the
would give it a
snake-
little bit of
I mean,
character.
The
I know,
snake was
but-
voiced by Scarlett Johansson, wasn't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But before it was played by the I forgot who played it before, but it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Who played Baloo?
Blue.
It was Bill Murray, wasn't
yeah,
it?
Bill Murray, and he was
I like.
superb. It was
Oh,
good.
I,
And then like the honey. He
of
was
course it
trying to
is.
get
He's
his honey.
Bill Murray.
Aw.
He's
I love
Bill
Bill-
effing Murray.
I love Bill Murray. He is one of my
Oh,
favorites.
So good.
He's always gonna be everyone's like.
I know. My boyfriend's mom watched. They said that the whole boys used to watch the Jungle Book, so we took her to see it, and she was just like so happy, almost in tears. That's because she said she loved it so much, and she wasn't disappointed. She said they did a really good take on the movie, and I liked
Yeah.
it. I
I'm
never
gonna
seen the
have to
first
go
one.
and see this.
It is amazing.
You're gonna have to rent it because it's out of theaters.
Oh, I know it's out of theaters.
Which
Been
I think
out of
I
theaters.
think actually tonight I might go to Redbox and rent it because
Go
I
see
haven't.
it.
I might
I-
just stream it. I don't know. You know what?
I don't think you
Actually,
can.
No.
Netflix doesn't have it yet. They don't update
plus,
for like a
plus
year.
even if you can, you're probably not gonna get the best quality.
Right. So
Yeah.
the Redbox would probably be your best bet.
Maybe, yeah.
It's a $1 rental, and then I mean it's nice. I can return it tomorrow and watch it tonight.
Yeah.
That's if I can. I may not have time.
Right.
Um. Anyway, so Mark, I hear you got an interesting story about Amy Schumer.
Oh yeah. She responds to this Tampa crowd walkout. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but about 200 people left Amy Schumer's comedy show
No.
after she mocked Donald
Wow.
Trump. 200 people. Yeah.
Wow.
Funny thing happened at Amy Schumer's show at the.
I was gonna say she's funny.
She
I
is really
I
You
couldn't
know,
understand.
honestly,
understand her a
at
lot.
first I didn't care for her. I really didn't. I didn't really care for her sense
See,
of humor.
now-
But then I saw her movie Trainwrecked.
See, I saw
Which
that and
was- which was
I
really
lost
good.
interest. I was
I
so
loved-
bored.
I love the
Yeah.
sex scene with John Cena where she's trying to get him to dirty talk.
Yeah.
See, and it's funny, but like I lost interest in that movie. I was so bored because my girlfriend loves Amy Schumer, and I like her as a comedian.
I didn't care for
As
her
an
until my girlfriend
actress.
got into her.
I'm just like.
Yeah, I don't know, same.
But I
same.
mean,
I'm
that's
iffy on her,
that's
but-
also coming from the guy who likes the movie Super Troopers, which isn't
Yeah.
a very stupid, funny movie. But I feel like her stupid funny isn't one that I can really either relate to or I just don't think it's funny.
I don't know.
I don't know what it is, but I
Honestly,
just
I think it's hard for girls to get into comedians. I mean, it might not, but most of the comedians I see, even on Netflix, they're talking about their boobs or they're talking about sex or they're, So I mean,
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
I know
that's definitely Amy Schumer's comedy.
Yeah,
it's all about
but-
her body kind of deal, you
right?
know.
And I think it's just hard for girls to, because most comedian guys, they can make jokes about their girlfriends or they can, you know what I'm saying? Where
yeah,
as
yeah,
if girls, they just think like talking about,
yeah. Most girl
Exactly.
comedians talk about themselves, where
Yeah.
guys will talk about
Anything else.
themselves. They'll talk about women. They'll talk about
Their
other guys. They'll
grandparents,
talk about the
yeah.
grandparents. They kind of cover a wide variety of different things, and then you've got a lot of female ones who just cover the female aspect of it, and that's it.
Yeah. But anyways, so basically though, when brain fart. Where was I? Oh yeah, when she was talking, she was talking about current events at her show, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she was talking about stuff like stricter laws on gun control and the presidential election, and she was mocking Donald Trump and all that stuff. And then after that, like a loud chorus of boos broke out from the audience.
Oh.
And when she called Donald Trump, among other things, an orange sexual assaulting fake college starting monster.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh my God.
Oh.
But about 200. About 200.
wow.
Yeah, for real. About 200 people stood up and walked out of there. And honestly,
I can kind of understand why. I mean, I feel like
Here's
that
the
goes
thing.
beyond a joke.
when you're in that kind of industry, stuff like religion and politics is not typically something that you really want to joke or talk about a lot.
Right.
I mean, believe me, here's the thing. I'm one of those people, like, you know, off the mic, you could tell me all that kind of stuff, and I'll laugh my butt off. I love that kind of humor, you know. I could talk about anything to any level, and I don't mind. I'm not a person who you're gonna offend easily. But from a professional point of view, you do not want to talk about politics or religion when it comes to, first of all, comedy or news or anything like that. You don't want to take sides on that. It's bad. It is a minefield of don't go there. And she went there, and
people walked out.
Yeah. But
and I don't blame them. That was harsh.
Yep. But listen to this though. Afterwards though, she told Entertainment Weekly that she loved the crowd and her show in Tampa last night. She wants to thank the 8,400 people who did stay after that they had a great time, and that that we have always depended on comedians to make us laugh and tell the truth. And she's proud to continue that tradition. Her tour continues in New York on Tuesday night at Madison Square Gardens. Hey, go. But anyway, so either way though, so I mean, still you gotta think 200 people walked out, and she still had 8,400 left. So I mean, you know, there's obvious, and I mean, sure, even though some people were offended, you got to think, first of all, the people paid for those tickets.
Right.
And so it's like, I don't care if I go to a comedy show and I'm offended by something. I don't care. I paid probably a good $100-something for those tickets. I'm not gonna leave.
Right.
You know, I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna stay for the whole show, unless I'm falling asleep because I'm so bored halfway through a comedy show. I'm not leaving.
Right.
So really, I mean, even if I am offended by some stuff, I'm not gonna, you know, get ants in my pants about it, you know. Mm-hmm. So I mean, you know, I could see why people would get up and walk out, because some people really just don't, you know.
I feel like that's just harsh.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's harsh.
I was gonna say, because if you think about this, okay. So one of the reasons that Trump is doing so well, if you look at it this way, is because people are tired of politicians. Yeah. And I'm not preaching, you know, any beliefs or anything. This is just fact that I found out through talking to different people who do support Trump and things. They're just tired of politicians.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've got Hillary who did all these things when she, you know.
Speaking of which, I heard she's crushing Trump in the polls, which I'm not really. I mean, again, I'm not taking sides. I don't like either of them.
Either way. So the people who are voting for him are trying to make a statement. So then you take the statement that they're trying to make and shove it back in their faces, and then I can understand why they got up and walked out.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like just insulting them and insulting their beliefs. And I can understand where I believe that she crossed lines. And I think she was wrong for it.
She definitely crossed lines with that. But you know what? At the same time, I'm not defending Trump by any means. Personally, like I said, I don't like either of them. I hate
politicians.
I think we have a crappy selection of presidential candidates this time around.
I think we always have a crappy selection of presidential candidates.
But either way, on that note, I'm gonna veer us away from politics because
good. Yes, please do.
Because it's just a bad ground. So I'm gonna bring it back into our final topic, which is well, you know, we were talking about Doctor Strange, and now we're going back to Marvel for a minute. Thor Ragnarok is supposedly could be the most out there Marvel movie according to the director, which is surprising because Doctor Strange is already supposed to be pretty out there. But we haven't seen Marvel's mind-altering trip through the multiverse, otherwise known as Doctor Strange, but the director of Thor Ragnarok promises his movie will be the most out there Marvel film so far. Based on what we already know, crazy seems like a proper assessment. Thor: The Dark World offered glimpses into the other 9 realms beyond Asgard, but Mark Ruffalo, who will reprise his role as Bruce Banner.
I love him.
He's great. He's the best Hulk I've seen. But he described the sequel as a cosmic road trip. Plus, there have been nods to the Planet Hulk storyline from the comics, and Kate Blanchett plays the fantastic sorceress Hela.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for that. I really want there to be a Planet Hulk movie because it will be something that's not a Hulk origin story. Yeah. I'm sick of Hulk origin stories. They're garbage. But anyways, Thor Ragnarok features Chris Hemsworth as the titular hero. I'm not good with that word because it's awkward. And Tom Hiddleston is Loki, obviously. And Idris Elba as Heimdall, while Blanchett rounds out a batch of newcomers with Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster. Jeff Goldblum, that's actually really cool. He's an awesome actor.
Yeah.
And Carl Urban as Scourge. I haven't heard of Scourge or Valkyrie, but I mean, it's rounding out some new heroes there. They're putting a nod in the direction of Planet Hulk, and I heard Doctor Strange is gonna make a small entrance in this movie. That's what I'm hearing.
That'd be kind of cool.
That would be pretty
cool. Either way, the film arrives November 3rd, 2017, so we got about a year, guys. Mark it in your calendars. But so either way, just keep that on the back slate for now. Think about it, but don't get too excited because it's going to be a minute. Personally, I'm really excited, but I'm a Marvel fanatic, so we'll see how that goes. But on that note, I'm going to pass off this final baton over to Aaron.
There's no batons. How many times have we been over this?
There's a baton.
There's no batons.
There's a baton.
No, I've removed everything that resembles any form of baton. We don't pat.
We don't pat.
I mean, it's just not a thing we do.
I have batons.
Oh my god. I swear I put all the pens away. Anyway.
Oh, look, it's pink.
Baton,
a pink
baton.
Not the pink one.
So, anyway, that noise means that our time is up. Once again, we do the show for you guys. Well, we do it because we have fun, but we keep doing it for you guys. Tell us what you think about our new intro and, Movie Madness Monday intro and things like that.
And maybe you shoot some ideas for Mark's Multiverse, because that would be cool to get an intro for that too.
We're trying to think of a good idea for an intro for that. So it'd be kind of cool to get your input and what do you think would be a cool intro?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm gonna throw that up on the Facebook page. I'll throw that out to everybody. What do you think would be a good intro for Mark's Multiverse?
There we go.
Would you want a couple like laser beams from Star Wars or
maybe a warp sound from Star Trek or anything? I mean, whatever you want, anything that you think might be good and relevant to Mark's Multiverse. Throw us your ideas.
And maybe we'll try to incorporate your ideas into our entrance.
And there we go.
So.
Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
You're welcome.
Hey, hope to have you on again soon.
I hope so. It was so fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? The seat is always available if you want it. So
I will.
It sits there vacant every week. So
I'll take it every week.
All right.
Oh my god.
Oh, that didn't sound right.
Okay. Well, because this party's obviously not winding down, I think it's time to get it out of here.
All
For
right,
Topic
everybody.
Talks, I'm Aaron Klingsmith.
And I'm Mark Wilson.
And
signing
I'm
off.
I did it.
I heard you got it.
You got it.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Oh, that was a good show.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.